All right, so we're live now. Good morning, grand rising, peace and blessings. Sending light to the replay visitors as well as to the YouTube visitors. Welcome. I'm going to go ahead and hold this space. So we're going to welcome in the energies of the East, the South, the West, and the North, representing the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. We are in the center, our heart anchored down into the earth and anchored up into the heavens, connected into source energy, our highest selves. And so I just give thanks for this moment, this time, and the opportunity to come and be with you in this way this morning. So today, the plan for or the energy for today came through last night. Last night, as we've been in the energy of the black moon. I need to look back in it, but I know normally a black moon is two new moons in the same month, and I did not realize that there were two new moons. I'm gonna go check that out myself so I can make sure that I'm in it. But I can say definitively that last night was a release and initiation point of the new moon in Cancer. So I'm not sure if you keep up with the moon. If you keep up with that calendar, I do. I keep up with the calendar of the heavens. I track the heavens. And yeah, I find that it gives me a much bigger, stronger, more solid anchor than just looking out at our world here. The heavens are a lot less likely to be impacted by human whim. So I keep up with them, and the energy of the Cancer Moon had a lot to do with coming home to ourselves. And I think that that's appropriate for us to be doing this work on divine union with self, wholeness, with and having the moon in Cancer really speak around coming home to ourselves. So if you did not do anything, you still have time. The energy is still strong. The energy is still strong, especially for initiating new things. For me, I use it as a two-part. I use it for releasing things that no longer serve. I also use it for calling in the vision of what I wish to manifest over the next 2 weeks and the next 6 months. That 6 month is because, this is the new moon in Cancer. 6 months we'll have the full moon in Cancer while we're in Capricorn season. So that being said, just really, really, really grateful to be here with you to enjoy this conversation. And today's energy we're going to be working on today is release. It came through. And again, for me, it seems to flow as a next step from, going through the energy of being courageous. Yesterday, we spent time in the energy of courage. And what does it mean to affirm that I am courageous? And knowing that courageousness has nothing to do with being fearless. Courageousness has everything to do with heart and will inspired action. And that we include ourselves in the manifesting of the things that are important to us, especially as it deals with journeying in the energy of courage. So, really excited about what happens when you have courage. There are things that you might be ready to go ahead and let go, to release. That's where we are. We're in this energy of release. And as I was in the waters last night, the waters, the bath, as I was in the waters last night, working through what I was letting go and what was coming up for me about what I was letting go and what I wished to walk into fresh and new in my space, I realized how important it was to bless the things that have come my way as I let them go. Very much so the process of I think her name is Marie Kondo, and she talks about blessing things as you let them go. And that is a strong, strong mojo. It's a strong power to operate from that frequency, not of lack, to operate from that frequency of this was good. And now it's time for me to let it go so I can make room for new good. so I can have space for the next new good thing that's coming my way. And so as we release these things, as we release our stories, as we release our pains, as we release our pleasures, sometimes there are things that we love that fed us so deeply, and you have to let it go too. Yeah. Sometimes you have to let those things that were deeply satisfying to you, you have to let them go, because there's something even greater calling you. And that's what I began to see. Spirit showed me as I was in the waters, I saw myself walking through like gossamer, these like very sheer curtains full of light, pink, golden, shimmery light. And I was walking into some place that I'd never seen before. And I could feel how it felt, like this expectation of what was good already was great. And what's coming is going to be fantastic. And it doesn't mean that you journey into that newness that is not going to have challenges, because that's part of our life process. Is how we grow. That's the courage, that's the acceptance, that's the knowing that we're safe, knowing that we're supported, and knowing that sometimes the challenges are to simply make us stronger, like for real. And you know, everyone has their own journey with it, and you can create whatever story you want about it. I just know that resistance is like a spiritual force. You know, you say, I want to do something. As soon as you say, I want to do something, I wish for this is important to me, then there will come those things that will test you to see if that's really true for you. And as you conquer that energy of persistence and consistency and commitment and devotion and dedication, then you begin to witness that those things, that stood in the way can no longer stand in your way, because you become unstoppable towards what it is you're moving towards. But if you're holding on, if you are still holding on to old things, old stories, and they're not serving you, it's one thing to have a story that serves you, that you stand on top of, that you're able to use it as a point of teaching, a point of reference, a point of saying, see, yeah, I was here. Look at those stories feed us. They become a part of our expression, our art, especially for those of us who are artists, who are musicians and visual artists, and, you know, who storytellers, people who are listening and tapping into spirit. Sometimes we're hearing stories from our ancestors, or we're receiving stories to tell us about how to bring through our gifts, how to bring through our medicine. Our gifts are our medicine. They're what's in us. It's our personal ashe, which is a part of why the work that I do in this capacity, I don't worry about anyone necessarily trying to copy me. That kind of thing. I've had people say, you know, you give it all away. And I'm like, well, they can't be me though. There's only like one me. You don't find too many me's. And so, grand rising. So because of that, it allows me to continue to move courageously and boldly. And I release these stories. So I want you to, today, as a part of our journey, bring in the energy of release. And I don't know what you'll have to do. I've been working at release now for some time now, and it's becoming easier. The thoughts that used to trigger strong emotional responses have definitely come down. What used to be like a 10, a 9, a 10, a 9, a 10 became a 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 5, 6, 5, 6. 4, 3. So I'm somewhere around maybe 3, kind of pops up sometimes to maybe a 6, but it's not taking me all the way up to 10. And I don't see a need to let it go all the way, because it's a part of, when I say let it go all the way, pretend it didn't happen, right? Pretend that thing didn't happen, that it wasn't good, or that it wasn't bad, or that, you know, it wasn't a part of my life. There are things that happen that are a part of our life that we have to figure out how to move forward with it. And whether or not it's going to be a weight that we carry, or whether or not it's going to be a jewel, a stone, something that we've transformed into our gold. You know, it becomes like these precious little crystal stones of power that we carry. It's our medicine. And for me, something, because for many who know, I was releasing love, releasing someone that I loved. And as I released the person that you love, this is the first time I've released someone that I loved, and I'm excited and grateful, like I said, that the energy has come down. And that's because I've been consistently working through it. So release the stories. Release the ideas that you'll never have another opportunity. Release the idea that because of my age, I can't do this thing. Release the idea, and that can be too young, or thinking you're too young, or thinking you're too old. Release the connections to the food, the habits, the ways of being that no longer serve us, that we allow spirit to pull us to. And instead, I still see it. I'm still being given that vision of moving into, almost as if I'm walking into light, but I'm moving through these curtains, these shears. And as I'm moving through into this new place, I recognize that I am being transformed. And I like who I am becoming in my transformation. So as a part of our journey to wholeness, sometimes we say we want this new thing out there that we're moving towards, this new state, but we don't recognize that there may be another part of ourselves that's holding space. It has the space occupied. It's like, yeah, you say you want wholeness, but I'm still holding on to that thing over there because, and it feels like that in a tone. Feel like that. It feels like that. Or feels like that. Or, the feelings. It has these strong resonances. And I tell you, those strong resonances are fine. However, they will not keep. It's hard to feel that and feel that. It's hard to feel bliss and joy and passion and love and peace when you're still being torn apart by those other stories that are conjuring other emotions. Good morning, Grand Rising. Peace and blessings, Brandy. So yes, very much so, they are attachments. And detachment is a spiritual principle. It gives you enough space. It gives you space. All of our organs inside of our bodies are inside of membranes that are inside of space-filled, fluid-filled sacs that are inside of another membrane. Like there are 3 levels before you get to the organ in our bodies. Yes, this is science. I'm talking our anatomy and physiology, but it all makes sense. We have to always be able to reconcile the space between you and the thing, the observer. Allowing yourself as the observer to become stronger. The part of yourself that can see this thing. But what then do you focus your energy on? Do you continue to focus your energy on this painful space of what you don't want to let go because it has you? I see that too. In my vision, I saw the tangles, I saw the webs, and I saw myself those ropes became gold as I began giving thanks for what it was, giving thanks for what had been, giving thanks for the opportunity to have experienced it, knowing that I'm being pulled to greater, higher, more. And as I began to realize that I was being pulled and transformed and I was giving thanks, those ropes that had tangled me became almost like golden bands. And I just shimmied myself right on out of it. Like for real, I literally, in my vision, saw myself shimmy myself out of those stories that had held me. And as I saw myself shimmy out, again, I saw this light calling me forward. And it reminded me of tapping. So I don't know if you all know about EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. However, that process of awakening in your body, I realized that even though this relationship, this experience was incredibly difficult for me, that I've survived it and that I'm moving forward in a new way in my life. That even though this experience was something that I felt deep in my bones and in my cells, that it also has taught me that I have moved on from it. It's time for me to move on from this experience so I can welcome new, more resonant, more frequently aligned things into my being. That even though this experience was so good for me, at this time I've outgrown it and I'm ready to bring in the new. That yes, even as I walk into this newness, I don't know what to expect, but I know that if my alignment, that my frequency is what I need it to be, that just like I made it here, I'll make it there. And I can keep my eye on the process and allow the journey to unfold. That even as I walk into this new place and it may not feel comfortable at first, it might feel almost as if I'm making something up, that I'm moving into a new place for myself, and I welcome it. That as I welcome in this new place, there's something that is coming into my life that I'm making room for. And so I release these things with love. That as these things happened in my life, that I know that I not only am I a survivor, but I learn from them. That I receive lessons and blessings from them. That I am lovable, that I am loved, that I'm strong, that I'm courageous, that I am greater than my circumstances, that I am greater than my circumstances, that I am greater than my circumstances, and I therefore am a champion. I know that I shine light, and as I shine light, I move forward into this new expanse as the vision comes online for who I truly am to be. For who I truly am to be is calling me forward, and I go courageously. EFT works. So those are literally the points with some differences. You know, some people don't do both. I sometimes do both, but I just wanted to do one so that you can see. But EFT, to move through the energy, to help bring it down, to help bring down that the song, the cry. It's soothing. It's almost soothing your your nervous system. You're soothing your nervous system when you are doing the tapping and when you're talking to it. It's like you can do this with anything. And sometimes new things will come up. You're like, why did I think about that? I should be over it. No, just because you're moving through, we're moving through frequencies. And we have different experiences that we might have forgotten that are on the same frequency, you see. So this thing happens and we find that we are here. And let's see, my heart and prayers for those who are moving through health concerns right now. I work as a nurse in my day job. I call patients on the phone. I talk with them and I walk with them through very difficult situations. A big part of what I do is listen, reflect, and mirror back, and then ask for permission to share my thoughts. Mostly they say yes, and I give my thoughts. Try to do so in the scope of medical, the scope of my practice. But I also share from the scope of my knowing and the trust relationship that I build with my clients. So for those who are dealing with current awareness of dis-ease in your body, I love you too. Dis-ease in your body. Be aware that two emotions can exist at the same time. You can feel both fear and you can feel both courage. You can feel love and you can feel despair. So you might be feeling afraid of what's happening in your life, in your body as it relates to illness or with your family. You might be going through this part of you, but I ask you to welcome in the energy of detachment that will allow you to say, if you brought me to this, you'll bring me through this. If you brought me to this, you'll bring me through this, and now it's going to be time for me to trust in ways that I've never known before, and ask Spirit to align me with those people who are going to help me trust in ways that I've never trusted before, who are going to help pull me up when I cannot go. I know this is a reality, as something I've had to experience myself. I can't tell you what the journey will be like for you, but I can tell you that we're standing and walking with you. It's important for you to know that. You hear me, Vicky? I want you to know that we're walking with you. I'm walking with you. And I'll light a candle specifically for my brothers and sisters who are working through pain and illness. Don't have that candle lit. I have a few other candles lit, but I will do that work just to stand. And even if we're getting the testing done, this is a time to release and purge the sticky stuff, the muck and the mire. That's really what I see a lot of COVID. There's this respiratory, this lung, it's grief, it's pain, it's sticky, mucky, that we're working through. And that might be ideas, that might be resonances in our body that we are being called to release. We're being called to release. And how that will happen, we all have to go through it. We do. And so we call on Spirit, we call on our highest self, we call on our guides, we pray. And we go. We go. I've told you all a few times, I've been through a few near-death experiences where I had to say, I might not be here. And I knew that. I knew that during one hemorrhage scenario, and the doctor said I fought and I fought and I fought, and I remember fighting. On the operating table. I remember fighting. And I remember hearing a voice as I said, I don't want to die. And I remember hearing a voice tell me, you will be okay. And that okayness allowed me to surrender. Like, it was the worst thing that can happen. You'll be gone. And I'm not, no dismissal. I'm making light of it. But that was truly what showed up. Same thing with this scar. I tell people, this scar, I didn't have a bad ticker. I didn't have a bad ticker. My ticker was strong. I'm a strong ticker. However, I went through a battle. I've had a few, like one. I won't even talk about the battle. We could talk about being knocked across 3 lanes of ongoing traffic. Like, I'm gonna die. The car spun and hit me and knocked me around in circles, going across 3 lanes of ongoing traffic into trees on the other side. And somehow, great gratitude for being here, right? So sometimes we have these things that help us to know the preciousness of life and what's most important. That's why I tell a lot of what I do is around leading with love. I want you to join me on releasing those things inside of ourselves that would keep us from experiencing greater love. Many times we have these things inside of us that keep us from experiencing greater love. There is greater love. We can have it with our family, with our friends, with life itself. We can know it. And it may not mean that our pain goes away. It may not mean that our struggles go away. But our approach, our story about them, how they hit us changes. And we begin to grow with it. And it does become our medicine. People come to us not because we are free of pain, but because we shine beyond it. We shine beyond. We move beyond. That's my story. That's been my way. So If you're following me, if you're keeping up with me, this is my path. And I'm here to be a living demonstration of what it means to go on, to release and let go, and go on, and then give thanks because you're still here. Another day, another chance to love. I'll tell folks, they remember, there are people who know one of my parts of my story. I'd say, the biggest gift that ever came back to me was that I still got to be here to parent my children. From this side, from the physical world, we still had time to make even more memories, and that my children wouldn't forget me. So keep going, whatever it is. We're here together, and we're going to pull up our book. Thank you. We're going to pull up our book, our text, Spiritual Growth, Being Your Higher Self, Sanahara Ama. As I tell everyone, you can find it online. It's not inexpensive any longer. I got it for like $1 years ago. And it called to me and hung out on my shelf until one day I pulled it off. You might too have some treasure on your bookshelves that you don't even know. So take a look at your bookshelf. You might have some books that you're like, I read that a long time ago. Yeah, it might be time to pull it out again. So go do some treasure hunting. You might have some treasure on your bookshelves. Let's see what spirit is coming through as we work through this energy of release. What is the message as we work through this energy of release? And back on the void. So let us see. Okay. So the message today comes through enlightenment, through the chapter on enlightenment through service. And it says, you can help lift the vibratory note of everyone by imagining that everything you do to empower others goes out to everyone else who needs this assistance. For instance, as you assist one person, imagine that you are assisting everyone with the same problem. As you help and love your own child, imagine that your love is going out to every child who could use that love right now. And it is important to know when to assist people and when not to. It takes a certain amount of your energy to shift someone's consciousness to a higher level. It is important to learn how much energy to put out to create that shift. You may have experienced helping someone with just a few words of advice. He or she made changes and solved the problems. You probably felt good and energized by the exchange. You may have had other exchanges with friends in which you poured a lot of energy into assisting them, but their recurring problems never got solved. You probably felt drained, for the energy you put out didn't create any lasting changes in their lives. If you choose the wrong time to help, or if the person isn't open to growing, you will put out much energy with little result. You also need to learn how much energy you are capable of shifting so that you do not take on more than you can handle. Are there people you are sending a lot of energy to who aren't growing or who feel like burdens to you in some way? In your mind, imagine you putting these burdens down. Release. Turn these people over to their own higher selves to help them grow. Send them light and release your responsibility for making their lives work. Some of you will know you are carrying people because you have a shoulder and back problems. Often your back hurts because you're carrying too much responsibility and too many burdens that are not yours. The higher your consciousness, the more of a penalty you pay for putting your energy where it doesn't create a shift. You may feel tired or drained or even get sick. When you create a shift, you feel charged with energy and your radiance increases. As you grow, you will want to be increasingly alert to whom and what you're putting your time and energy into and the results you are or aren't creating. If people feel like burdens, it is a sign that carrying them is not for their higher goods. You may be taking away their lessons and slowing down their growth. They may become dependent on you and stop taking responsibility for making their own lives work. People who are growing rapidly from your assistance will not feel like burdens. Reading from page 164 to 165 in Spiritual Growth. If you have this book and you'd like to read more, that would be the page where you would go to bring in more information on this energy. But that is a very powerful lesson to support the energy we just talked about around release, letting things go. And some of the people that we are holding allegiance to are thought forms. They're just thought forms. They no longer even exist. The relationship no longer even exists. The story no longer exists. The person is passed on. But we still are carrying that energy inside of us, right? You can't afford that. It's a burden. It's pulling us. It's calling on us. So as we release these stories, as we release these burdens, as we release these responsibilities and pick up our own responsibility towards our own personal power, our own personal journey, our own work, we can find those people who we can serve. We don't need to carry any more burdens. Then life has enough. We have enough. We have enough. I still remember they would say, there's a saying that says, God only gives you as much as you can bear. And I say to people, well, that doesn't stop you from picking up extra stuff, though. So God may only give you what you can bear, but you can most definitely pick up some extra stuff that don't belong to you. Put it down. Release that. So thank you all. We're going to do our sound healing now. Thank you so much. calling me. I give blessings to the past, the life I lived, I journeyed past, and now I go to higher ground to shine my light, to wear my crown. There are things I must go through and feel the feelings that I must too. But I can know that love abounds. It calls me through to higher ground. Holding on to the light, holding on to the light, holding on to the light. Moving forward, we move forward. You call me, call me, call me, I let go. Call me, call me. I let go. Release it, it calls me. I release it, love is calling me. Release it, it's calling. I go. Great joy, it is calling me. Great joy, it is calling. I release what no longer serves. I am grateful, but I must go. My life is called I release what no longer serves. My life it is calling me. Gratefully let go to receive. Love it is calling me. I go. I'm coming home to myself. It frees me. Love frees me to be peace abounds, happiness, let it go. So you can win. Come home. Come home to love. Come home. Come home to love. I am so grateful for your willingness to walk on this wholeness journey with me. I am finding parts of myself that are bringing me into a new territory, a new space I've not occupied before. It's like, oh, so I get to do this? The spirit is like, yes, we've been waiting. It is a pleasure. I know that what I'm doing is helping because you tell me, and I believe you. I listen back myself and it helps me. I listen to it at night before bed. I'm like, oh, yes. So I'm sowing these seeds forward even for myself and my children, that one day they'll need to know some stories about their mama. And they will hear these stories, they will see me, and it's as though I'm continuing to talk with them. It may not stick all the way, but it's a feeling that if you can take pleasure in that feeling of release, that feeling of peace, that feeling of love, that feeling of joy, if you can remember that feeling, when you feel something that feels like it again, you magnify, like, oh, that's right, that's that feeling, and savor it. Savor the good things. We live in a society that has us ruminate over pain regularly. And so it sticks and stays, and like mucus in our lungs, it's sticky and it catches everything. And next thing you know, we are self-poisoning. So I want to tell you all that the message has come through, that I will begin doing personal meditative processes for people who need them. And that if this is something that you're interested in, you can inbox me. I'm going to be putting up the information to let you know how to access that, as well as group. Group will be a much more easy way for people to access, where I'll talk about a particular theme and frequency, where we'll be using medicine cards, symbols, a lot of symbolism, and you will receive that symbolism, as well as, if you like, the recording of the meditation that we do as a group. We'll do that. I've been working with Zoom now a little bit, and it's actually, I feel like I've mastered the tool to be able to have the resonance of what I bring come through to people. I trust that now with the platform. So we'll be doing group work, as well as individualized sessions. I'm thankful to you for who you are and where we are as a people. We're coming home to ourselves. We're coming home to our great selves, to our highest selves, and learning how to be that in this world. You know, being in spaces where that frequency can be held is important. So, like, follow, share, subscribe. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Donations are always grateful. You know, they help. They help feed us. We eat. We like to eat around here. But I'm so grateful for your witness of my offering. It's like I feel like a little girl. This is my offering to you. This is my offering to the world. This is my offering, and it is my prayer that it is pleasing. It's my prayer that it is, it brings to us what we need, and that I can grow in it, so I can do even more in it, that my resonance continues to increase, which is why I do my work, why I sit in front of my altar and I pray, why I cry, why I bathe, why I allow Spirit to remind me through my voice of this messages. So anyway, thank you. I'm wearing red. It's Tuesday, Mars Day. Perfect day for releasing, giving things to fire energy, feeling things through, letting it go. If you feel a lot of get up and go energy, we're still in the new moon energy, but this is a powerful augmentation of it with the energy of Mars and initiation and that flame. You might need to write something down and burn it on a piece of paper. That helps. Write it down, burn it. Get in the tub if you need that. Whatever you have to do. But blessings. Y'all take care.